following the loss by the Lakers to the Pelicans.
You guys on Thursday dug a big hole and were able to climb out of it. What was the difference tonight?
You just said it.
What are the remaining parts of your game that you're still working to get back after the injury?
Nothing much. Conditioning still is coming along. Other than that, I'm able to get them down the floor with no problems.
Consistency was a word that was mentioned by some of your teammates tonight in terms of the search for it. Obviously, there's been a ton of games already, and if it's still searching for it, is there enough time to find it?
I don't know. We just got to play better our next game in Memphis, but we're almost 60 games in, so I don't know.
Urgency was lacking tonight from the team?
From the start, yeah. It happened in the Houston game too. Just the start of the game and then the start of the third. That urgency, has to be there, and we dug ourselves a hole, once again in the third quarter tonight.
Wow, so much at stake and no time left. How do you get that sense of urgency? Keep it.
But how many know what's at stake if you've never been there? No, I'm asking you too. I'm like, how do you know what's at stake if you've never been there before?
Yeah, but then how you know I've never been there before?
No, not you.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Obviously, I'm not talking about you. I'm just like,
Right.
kind of playing devil's advocate,
Right. The idea of trying to get to the playoffs. Now there's 23 games.
Yeah, I mean, so it's kind of a fine line, when you talk about that, because when you've never been there or know what it takes to actually shoot for something like that, and sometimes you're afraid to get uncomfortable. So you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I'm not saying that's what we are as a whole. Kind of looks that way at times. That sometimes we feel like we're afraid to be uncomfortable, kind of get out of our comfort zone. Have that sense of urgency. From the jump, and not be afraid to actually go out and fail to succeed. So, we have what 23 games left. Let's see what happens.
Do losses now feel different than losses maybe earlier in the season?
For me?
Yeah.
No. See, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. See, it's like, I don't know. It's just been so last few years, everybody's so accustomed to the losses that I'm just not accustomed to. I'm not accustomed to it. I would never get comfortable with losing. So, losing game 1 to Houston, it feels the same way as losing game 59 in New Orleans for me. That's just how I'm built. That's who I am. Ask Dave. Dave will tell you who I am. He's been with me for the last few years. You guys are just starting to learn.
Russell Westbrook, third straight game with 40 or more. It just hit a 3 to tie this one up for OKC with the Sacramento Kings late in the fourth quarter. Let's go out there. Chris Fisher, Michael Cage, take it away.
And we get a foul. That is going to be a costly one for the Thunder. It's going to put De'Aaron Fox at the free throw line with 29.3 seconds left. This is the 3 that tied it, 116. Little catch fire 3.
I like that catch and release. From the corner, the desirable spot, the shortest three-point shot in the NBA is that corner 3.
It's time for tonight's Thunder Player of the Game, brought to you by Riverwind Casino, and it's Russell Westbrook. 41 points, 3 consecutive now with 40 plus. Tag on the 10 rebounds. As Fox calmly knocks them both down to give the Kings the 2-point advantage here with 29.3 seconds. Billy Donovan's going to call the timeout, talk things over. Setting up.
And this is how we got there. Thunder were down by 1. Westbrook fighting to the basket, giving the Thunder the 1-point lead. Then on the other end, De'Aaron Fox running the lead. That second pick in the draft, Marvin Bagley showing off the touch in a clutch situation, giving the Kings the lead, and they are up by 3, and then Fox fighting inside, tough, and 1. gets it to 116, 113, and there's the Westbrook three that gave him his third straight 40-point game. Left open in the corner. Westbrook shooting 26% from three-point range on the season, has been heating up recently. 5 for 12 from outside in this game. We saw him last night against the Jazz hit 6 three-pointers. That was a season high. So now he's starting to hit the outside shot, and that really picking up for Westbrook.
It's coming at the right time. So we talked to Eric earlier in the show that we know Russell been banged up a little bit. I never questioned how hard he's going to play, if he's going to do the right things and make shots. What we're seeing now in the fourth quarter, are you going to make good decisions? Is it my turn or is it Paul George's turn? Or sometimes you want to get the ball from one side of the floor to the other, make the defense work and get an open shot.
And that's one thing we also talked about with Westbrook, averaging over 11 assists so far this season, a career high for him. But Paul George has 14 points on 4 of 18 shooting. Let's head back out to OKC.
Drives, Grant launches. Offensive rebound, Ferguson. Westbrook drives, hangs. Offensive foul. The shot would have tied things, and it was Willie Cauley-Stein outside the restricted area as Westbrook drove by Hield. As the officials converge, want to talk it over. He was not in the restricted area. That is something that is reviewable.
But you know, look at that. He was still moving, though. I mean, that's the thing about it. And I know the officials are going to look at this to confirm that he was outside the restricted area. But watch Willie Cauley-Stein. He's still moving on this play. He does a good job of just facing him, though, and making sure that Russ makes contact with the numbers.
Boy, I could see this going either way. He certainly rotated over. It looked like the movement had stopped, and that'll be an offensive foul. So the call stands. And Westbrook charged with foul number 5. And now with 11.5 seconds left, the Thunder are going to have to play defense here, try to go for the steal. And if you don't get the steal, you got to foul right away. Hope for a missed free throw.
Well, you got an extra man on the floor now. You can lock up all 4 guys out there and try to push that to that 5-second count limit and go for the steal. If you don't get it, you definitely got to foul right away.
Box the trigger man to get it into Hield. He's the best free throw shooter. Thunder got a foul. Still don't foul. Still don't foul. Finally give it up to Barnes. But 7 seconds shaved off the clock, and that he committed the foul much sooner than that. But Scott Wall, the official, didn't blow the whistle. And George, you can see the frustration on his face, intentionally fouling Buddy Hield.
Okay, there's a foul right there by Terrence Ferguson, a bump that time by Paul George. He throws up his arms, indicating to the official, blow the whistle. Those were some precious seconds that went off the clock. And that's unfortunate for the Thunder that so much time elapsed off the clock.
So 2 for Harrison Barnes, and that's the key miss right there.
And that's why those seconds are so important. And you can see why the coaching staff was pretty upset with the officials for not blowing that whistle sooner, because you know you're going to put him on the free throw line. That was part of your strategy, but it's how much time left on the clock that you put him on that free throw line with. If they get another miss out of Harrison Barnes, this is also changes things tremendously too.
One more for the newly acquired King player, and he knocks it down to make it a 3-point game. And so Billy Donovan will burn the Thunder's final timeout with 4.2 seconds.
So the Kings ahead by 3, but this was last night. Can you give me a bucket? Paul George says over the Stifle Tower. Absolutely yes.
You might not be old enough for this song, Chris, but it's called Float, Float On. Yeah, you're too young for that song, Chris. You're too young.
I concur with your assessment, actually.
On, you know, like
it sounds like a great song.
Just float over like that. Yeah, he just said, big man can't get it that way.
No, it was beautiful.
They be sweeping over that thing like, they be mad.
No, not at all. So Paul George coming up in the clutch a lot this year for OKC. Clearly an MVP candidate. When we did the blind test earlier, that's who you picked. Yeah, I picked a little bit. I was, peeking behind the curtain a little bit because sometimes we look at 30 points a game, 32 points a game, think it's a lot. But sometimes less is more, and Paul George has shown us now that Russell's done less, he's done a little bit more, and all the supporting cast is doing more. Well, the Thunder need a 3. Russell Westbrook has fouled out for a second consecutive game. And this is what that charge was 6 foul? And this is what Paul George did to the Utah Jazz last night. Let's see if we're going to get an encore performance from Paul George or if someone else gets the shot. Let's head back out to OKC. No, I'm sorry. Russell Westbrook did not foul out. He's in the game as well with 5 fouls.
The ball as Ferguson will get it in. George has had a hard time getting rid of Harrison Barnes on him all night long as he's got it. Looking for a screen. George, the long shot off the front of the rim. As that would have tied it. And the Thunder come up short here on the back end of this back-to-back. As it's Sacramento.